Whether you're looking to find coding project ideas for your university curriculum or looking for project ideas as a bootcamp grad or self-taught programmer, this video is for you, especially if you want to make your resume more attractive. Hey, my name is Khan. I'm currently a software engineer at a startup, and I've worked for companies like Sony and Google. I also worked at Hack Reactor, a coding bootcamp between 2016 and 2018, and I've seen my fair share of student project ideas and resumes. Most videos that attempt to answer the question of what projects to build will rattle off simple ideas on the kinds of applications you can build, like a to-do list, a chat application, a personal finance tracker, and more. Look, in this day and age, you can basically just ask ChatGPT to get a rundown of decent ideas. And to be honest, you can basically turn any project into an attractive piece on a resume if you understand the pillars of what makes a high-quality learning experience as an aspiring professional. What I'm interested in doing in this video is going over 3 specific ideas for software engineering students and aspiring developers so that you can understand what makes a good resume project and to help you cut through the noise and stand out as an applicant for a job. I want to highlight the things that employers are interested in and help you achieve those things through these project ideas, not just give you a few random ideas from a hat that will teach you a few coding concepts. So use these ideas as a starting point to build a unique project that helps you stand out in the market. All right, let's dive in. Idea number 1 is to build a website for a real business. The problem with student projects that I've seen is not the ideas themselves, is that the projects look and behave like learning-driven projects. The thing with becoming a software engineer is that you need to build in the real world and face real-world constraints and consequences. This is what professional experience consists of. So the chicken and egg problem of you need real experience to land a job as a software engineer, but you can only get that real experience through a job, is solved if you go proactively finding a problem to solve for a real business. Building a website for a business is a great place to start because A, not all businesses have one or thought they even need a website, so there are opportunities to pursue, and B, there's all kinds of businesses to consult, and if you're willing to do it for free, you can proactively find a business to serve. Now, when you go helping a real business by building them a website, you're forced to deal with the consequences of building that website. Points like where will the lead flow go? What technologies will you use and why? Where will you host it? How will you, as a single person, help the business manage their own website on an ongoing basis? The constraints of the specific business will inform your decision making, and that's the critical piece that's missing in most student projects. You aren't actually doing the work of a professional in a purely learning-driven context. If you're ready to make the switch from aspiring learner to a professional, you have to start operating in a results-driven context first. Before I got my first job as a professional software engineer at Sony, I had probably built a dozen different websites for businesses and have built a Hollywood talent production agency's client directory web application, and have built my own content management system and vehicle inventory application for a construction company. This included a range from unpaid to freelance work, all coming from proactively looking for problems to solve through the people that I knew or being referred to. And I mention this as encouragement because those websites and applications that I've previously built for other companies look nothing like what I do now for my job. But I started by building people's websites for free, even if they didn't look that great. I did it because I enjoyed it, and in hindsight, it's what really got me into the game of building stuff for real businesses, used by real people, and driving results for my clients. If you want to land a job as a software engineer, learn to build stuff and be held accountable for the results you achieve for a business through whatever you build, just like the professional you aspire to be. Idea number 2 is to find an annoyance in your life and try to solve it with an app. Whether the solution ends up being a mobile app, web app, or anything else, set your sights on the finish line, being publishing the app on the App Store, posting it on Hacker News and Product Time, and see if you can get people to pay for it. Look, worst case, you do have the choice to refund people and shut down the app. If no one buys it, then who cares? But if people do buy it, you probably did the work of engineering something that actually delivered a result for people. That constrains you to actually implement something of value in the world. Again, you're building something in a results-driven context. If you want a pro tip on how to do this intelligently, build a landing page first and market it to a waitlist or early adopters. This will give you a direct audience to help you iterate on the idea. One of the key points in building something with this context is that you actually put it into people's hands and get feedback. an important aspect of being a professional that students often don't get exposed to. If you want more tips and tricks on this methodology of building small apps focused on specific problems, check out the community over at Indie Hackers. I think that's a great resource for learning about building micro SaaS applications. But even if you don't do this, you'll actually have a guiding compass on the product direction because you'll be building an app for yourself based on an annoyance that you've personally experienced. That's the whole point. You're solving a real problem. Idea number 3 is to build a game. The sheer difficulty of building a game will require you to set foot into a bunch of different domains. And while you're probably not going to create anything meaningful that gains traction, building any kind of game is sufficiently difficult and riddled with technical challenges. So if there's one kind of project that you build for the sake of learning that you want to highlight on a resume, let it be a game, because the bar to get the game to actually work is high enough to challenge you to new heights, learn new skills, and make important engineering decisions. The requirements alone are a strong enough constraint to help you materialize something worth mentioning. I will, however, say that you want to do whatever you can to publish the game. Publishing and putting the idea into the world is most definitely a requirement with a project that you want a potential employer to look at. So here's a few things that makes games more challenging than other kinds of apps. Often it involves real-time communication between 2 or more client devices and a server. User experience is paramount. A poor user experience makes for an unplayable game. Performance requirements usually cannot be ignored. Innovative and creative content is a key driver of value, not something that is essential to software engineers, but it's important in the larger scheme of product design. Here's a few starter browser-based game ideas that you'd be able to sink your teeth into. 1. A simpler game like Tic-Tac-Toe or Connect 4, but decked out with a full set of features to make the game engaging, like a leaderboard, social connectivity, and more. 2. Recreate a card game. And 3. Recreate a board game. Usually anything that relies on heavy graphics and creative assets is not a realistic option to pursue for learning's sake because you don't have the killer talent that can help you create graphics. But you can still learn key lessons from developing a functioning game. For those reasons, a well-executed game is far more impressive on a portfolio than pretty much any other learning-driven project. Okay, so those are the 3 project ideas to help you create a more attractive resume and become a professional software engineer. Let me know what you thought of these projects down below in the comments, or if you have any questions. I'd be happy to give you my 2 cents on whatever's on your mind. If you found this helpful, I'd love it if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want more content about coding and becoming a software engineer, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter, thecommit.dev. I share weekly insights about how to be an effective programmer and a high-performing individual. I'll leave a link to it in the video description. Okay, that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.